My guest is a private legal practitioner who is exceptionally interested in public interest law and litigation. He's a fighter. He's praised highly for his dedication, time, and expense in his pro bono pursuit of the rights and freedoms of the vulnerable in society. I am super happy to be speaking again to Mr. Martin Amidu, who is my guest here on the show. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
The last time, have you gotten over the shock?
Not yet.
Because actually, the last time we spoke on the show, you ruled Martin out.
Yes. You know, and because basically watching the political terrain and how we conduct our politics, and also most especially even based upon the news feed that we had, it showed that it was going in the direction of Mr. Akufo-Addo. So definitely, I mean, it would have been weird, to say the least, to keep rooting for Mr. Amidu.
So is that to say that you really wanted Mr. Amidu, but you thought it was impossible? Exactly,
that's it. You've captured it well. Yes. So the president has done very well, to say the least. He's brought, even by disappointment alone, you see, it's symbolic in the first place. That's it. You see, we can analyze it at various levels. In the first place, it's very symbolic. And, you know, symbols play a lot in our political and other spheres of life. You see, it's very significant because for the president to have crossed the line, so to speak, left his own stable, he has, I mean, equally competent horses in his own stable, but he's crossed his stable and gone into the other stable, that's the NDC stable, and choosing one of their own speaks volumes. I mean, I'm lost for words to describe what we are experiencing. So it tells you that this is our democracy. Really, we can't predict everything. But, I mean, we are living up by disappointment to the expectation that Ghana will always be a beacon of democracy.
But do you still see Mr. Martin Amidu as an NDC person? Do you, would you put him in that?
Oh, you know, that one too, as usual, notionally, to the extent that he's not been expelled from the party, he will still be NDC. But I guess also beneath it, or also implied in your question, is the fact whether he will be partisan. I guess that's the question, the other aspect.
Well, I mean, if you look at how some members of the NDC has received this news, it's almost as if, well, he wasn't really a true NDC person, considering the things that he has said even about the party and his refusal to appear before the disciplinary committee on some matters.
Yes, but bottom line is that he's not been expelled. You see, Amidu is a lawyer, so he took those steps. But what did the party do? That's why I said, bottom line, has the NDC expelled him? No. So to the extent that he's not been expelled, he is a member. And don't forget, a founding member at that. So, and those comments, you see, so far, unless maybe they've been further development, as far as I'm aware, the NDC as a party hasn't, what do you call it, condemned this appointment as a party. What I'm aware of is that a few members have indicated their displeasure, okay, or their opposition to the appointment. But you know, from the way party affairs are handled, we cannot stretch those dissenting voice to represent the official position of the party. Yes, so basically, I think, look, as I've stated, this appointment is shocking. Is by itself, it's a paradigm shift in the Ghana's democracy. Yes, by the appointment alone. That's why I said it's symbolic, very symbolic, and that represents a paradigm shift. And of course, beyond that, you know, Mr. Amidu is a character, very strong. You see, I mean, at least from the media, the events leading to his removal from office, to the extent that he defended his position. Okay. Yes, even though the former president, at least from the news, President Mills, had a different opinion, Mr. Amidu insisted he wanted, or he thought that the actions he was taking were right. So these are the kind of persons that we want, because all too often, sometimes the perception is that usually the president will have his way when it comes to his ministers. So when you have a minister who can defend his own and will not yield to the president's dissenting view, so to speak, or will not do the president's bidding at all costs, that is a person that the Ghanaian or the populace would want as a special prosecutor. So it's all about his character, that personal strength.
Why should Ghanaians be excited about this appointment?
As I said, the first thing is about the personal strength of Mr. Amidu. You see, you know, the Supreme Court has described him in more eloquent terms, you know, for the fight that he's carried on in respect, specifically in respect of the Woyomi case, how he single-handedly fought in the courts and eventually got the court to give judgment in his favor that Mr. Woyomi should refund the over 51 million cedis, you know, and all those other things. So that is the sheet anchor. That's the crown jewel in his public-spirited fights. Yeah.
Now that we have a special prosecutor, because that's what we're looking for, and now that you seem to be excited about it, if you look at the professional side, the work ethics, I mean, who the man is in terms of his work, almost everybody is hailing him, which means we've made a perfect choice, almost.
Exactly.
Him as a special prosecutor, what are the cases that we're looking at that he would come and resolve successfully for us?
Okay. So basically, even before he starts new ones, there is also provision that some of the pending ones, like the NCA one, you know, the William Tevi case, Alhaji Osman, yes, some of the pending ones can be transferred to him. And then also, you know...
sorry, as in cases that are already started by this Attorney General.
Yes, yes.
He can come and take over those?
Yes, I think from the feed that we are getting, some can be transferred to him. And then, basically, you know that once you have the office in there, then you see that you have somebody who is, remember, they're also going to conduct investigations. So henceforth, at least there is an identifiable office for this special kind of cases. So I'm expecting that henceforth, as soon as there are any issues in these corruption-related cases, they would be taken there straight away. Who knows? I don't want to hazard a guess yet, since it doesn't appear there is one that is ready for him to prosecute straight away. No. Maybe the closest would have been... Yes, but you know, the closest would have been the St. Cash for Seats saga. But Parliament is investigating it, so let's hold our horses.
But does it matter that the President has already, you know, closed the chapter when it comes to the Cash for Seats scandal?
So it's possible. It's possible. So let Parliament finish that work, and then we would see. I'm sure we don't want these cases to happen. Actually, that's the first line of thought. But things in the nature of human beings, they may happen. So for now, you know, it will take some time to set up the office, to make it functional and all those things. So as a citizen, I pray that we don't have more of those corruption cases immediately. And perhaps even far into the future, there should be as few of those cases as possible, so that the public purse is saved. Because you know that going to court doesn't necessarily mean he will win. Yes, it's a different ball game altogether. So that also brings in the point that as citizens, though we are very, very excited, but we also need to remember that the appointment of Mr. Amidu alone is not sufficient to fight corruption. In actual fact, it starts with us as citizens. If you check, we are the originators. You see, you know, the matter of corruption is such a complex subject. You know, sometimes even part of it looks cultural. You know, in our culture, this culture of gifts and all those things, you don't go before a big man empty-handed. When you go to the chief's palace, you must present kola and all those things, depending on where you come from. You know, so it's such a complex thing. So the main point is that I'm saying that in our excitement, let's also remember that in actual fact, this problem really originates from us as citizens. It's deeply embedded in our psyche. Yes, so we should also make a conscious effort that since there's been a paradigm shift in the fight by the appointment alone, we also want to stop. We also want to make a personal efforts at stopping this canker.
When you monitor the media headlines after the announcement, that the president made about the special prosecutor, you'd realize that some people say, oh, the NDC is dead, quote unquote. Who should be running away from Mr. Martin Amidu?
Anybody who has soiled his hands, any person who has been engaged in any corruption-related offense. So those those headlines, I take them as being sensationalist. Yes, it's sensationalism. You know, newspapers, we are a professional. I'm a greenhorn, but at least I know that usually newspapers would have to use sensational headlines to be able to grab or get public attention, to spike up sales and all those. But I'm not moved by those headlines. Look, as we keep saying, Ghana has changed. We are constantly evolving as a people. You the same media, you're doing a good job. Okay, I believe you're going to scrutinize and make sure that his office stays above board, you know, and all those things. So to the extent that we have a very vibrant media, okay, searching and trying to play its role, Mr. Amidu can't be engaged in witch hunting. No. So those are just sensational headlines.
Do you believe that there was a lot of corruption in the previous administration?
Oh, for perception, yes, definitely. And some of them were even proven. You remember the JIDA one, the Better Ghana agenda, and all those cases. Yes, it was sickening. And you know, I'm sure Ghanaians, everybody remembers. Yes.
Do we expect Mr. Amidu to go after some of these cases?
Oh, naturally, yes. Naturally, yes. To the extent that some of those played out and they are public record. You remember the bus, the bus branding scandal and all those ones. Yes. So we expect that he should go into those. And of course, so it works both ways. As he's going into those cases, then naturally he would also look at the current administration. So it cuts both ways.
Can he be trusted by this administration?
Certainly. Yes. As I keep saying this, you see, it's not a one-street affair. It's a very complex social and political dynamic. Yes, because you guys are there, you see, because of the role you play, I know now you can't keep a secret. So, and I know somebody of Mr. Amidu's stature will be very careful. Yes, he would have to live above board because, you know, Ghana now, I mean, we've changed as a people. We've changed. We can't keep a secret. So I don't see him gambling by being partisan or, no. The stakes are very high. So it won't pay to try such a game. In any event, he's shown, even the starting line is that by his character so far, he's shown that he's fair, he's very strong, and then he has a passion for ensuring that the public purse is protected. So that is the starting line. And that is why most of us are excited that he got the appointment. So I should say that it follows from his character, from that, what he's displayed so far, that he can be trusted.
I want us to focus our attention on President Akufo-Addo. But let's begin with the announcement and how he backed this appointment, even as he made the announcement yesterday. Let's take a listen to the president.
I've accepted the Attorney General's nomination and will in turn submit for Parliament's approval when it reconvenes on the 23rd of January 2018 for its first meeting of this new year, the name of Martin Alamisi Burns Kaiser Amidu to be the first special prosecutor under the law. I have done so because I'm fully convinced that Mr. Martin Amidu, a prominent legal personality who held the high office of Attorney General of the Republic in the government of the late President Professor John Evans Atta Mills, has the requisite integrity, competence, courage, and independence of character to discharge effectively the responsibilities of this new office. Indeed, the Supreme Court itself has had cause to commend the nominee for his public spiritedness in the case of Amidu versus Attorney General, Waterville, and Wyoming, when the court, per the respected judge, Doche JSC, had this to say about him, and I quote, "The role of the plaintiff, Martin Amidu, a distinguished former Attorney General of this country, needs to be highly commended, as was done in the lead judgment of the court. The plaintiff, in my opinion, must be highly commended for his vigilante role in protecting the wanton dissipation of the public purse," unquote. The court also, in a related suit, had this to say about the nominee. Quote, "The plaintiff, that is to say Mr. Amidu, is to be commended for his public spiritedness, which has fueled his meticulous and industrious presentation of this case," unquote. I can also personally vouch for his public spiritedness. We were on opposite sides in a series of landmark constitutional cases in the period leading up to and in the early years of the Fourth Republic, well known to students of constitutional law, which helped shape the evolution of the Constitution of the Fourth Republic. As Deputy Attorney General as he then was, he conducted those cases with the fairness which should be a cardinal feature of the conduct of any self-respecting lawyer. Mr. Amidu has indicated his willingness to accept the appointment. I thus have the honor to submit to Parliament, when it reconvenes, the name of Martin Alamisi Burns Kaiser Amidu for its approval for appointment as Special Prosecutor.
And that's President Akufo-Addo as he made that announcement, a very unexpected one in terms of the name of the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, and he had some really, really nice things to say about him. But what kind of weaknesses has he got as a person who is going to be in this office? My guest in the studio is Martin Amidu. We're looking at the appointment of this Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu. Let's look at the weaknesses of Mr. Amidu.
Wow.
What do you see? I mean, have you done any cases with him? How close have you come?
No, Mr. Amidu is far senior at the bar. So, well, that's not the only reason. But I just haven't had an opportunity to conduct a case against him or with him. Naturally, as a human being, he would have weaknesses. But as I've stated, you see, when you come into public office, there's that buoyance that you get. There's that added strength, you see, because of the responsibility that's entrusted to the public officer. I know from a little experience how these things go. When public office is entrusted to you, you know, it's no longer your personal strength, you know, but you get extra strength, extra buoyance, yes, because, you know, it's a trust. Actually, that's the word, yes. There's a public trust, and so there is that added strength to do good, to do the right thing. So we would naturally have to reserve judgment for now and wish him the best, that he would behave as
surely he's not a perfect man.
Yes.
I mean, we've heard very nice things being said about him and how he's such a fighter. But you're a lawyer, he is a lawyer, even though he's way a senior.
Yes.
There must be things that you've heard about him.
Oh, you know, this matters to the extent that there's not been any public, let's say, adverse findings against him and those, you know, naturally we can't use those as basis. So even if you've ever heard anything untoward, you know, to the extent that there's not been any adverse findings or, you know, any public proof against him, we would just discard those. You know, naturally, you see, the first issue that he has against him, and which will not go away, is the fact that, or let me say, the allegation that he's bitter about the way he was removed from office. But as I've stated, you see, he's going to perform his functions openly, with as much transparency as possible, and as I said, with the media searchlight on him. You see, and civil society organizations, you know, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition and all these people looking with keenness. You see, so everybody's stakes are very high. So when it turns out that way, there isn't much space for personal vindictiveness and all those. No.
Okay.
Because at every point, you know that millions of people are watching and scrutinizing. So that's
there's one of the things that he has done that people talk about when it comes to him either being partisan, being against the NDC, being vindictive and things like that. I want to bring back a playback of a recording that he did himself when he called on people to vote against the NDC. This is a recording that he put up on his website himself. Let's watch. To show that, because internet is down, I understand, but hopefully we'll be able to get that. It means that we will also not be able to bring you the comments, because we put up a post on Facebook where we're asking the top 5 cases that you want him to chase after. I thought we'll be able to bring you that, but unfortunately we can't bring you that as well. So let's focus on what the AG would do. Is it the entire prosecutory powers, if you like, that has been taken away from the AG?
No. What the act has done is that is taking just the corruption-related offenses, corruption and corruption-related offenses, so bribery and corruption, and the offenses under the Public Procurement Act. You see, so that basically when you are bidding for contracts and then you would present false information, you would do other things, over invoicing and all those offenses when it comes to public procurement. You remember one of the main issues on the bus branding saga was the grossly over invoiced sum. You see, when the actual person who carried out who undertook the bus branding, when he mentioned what he was paid as against the invoices and all that, you see that the public was shocked. Yeah, so all those things are the kind of cases he will deal with. So mainly, it's going to be a specialist kind of prosecution, corruption and corruption-related offenses. So it means that the AG would continue with the prosecution of the other offenses. Yes, but I know you would come to it, but well, I'll comment anyway. The matter of the appointment, you know, when the excitement dies down and when he begins to investigate or maybe begins to prosecute, definitely it's going to be the issue of whether the scheme we've used, that's the public prosecutor, this model, whether it's constitutional. You know very well that under Article 88, the prosecutorial power belongs to the AG. But in this act, this Special Prosecutor Act, what we've done is that the AG nominates the Special Prosecutor and the President appoints. It's problematic.
That's still a problem.
Yes. It's not going to die off soon.
Wait, okay, so let's go back to hearing Mr. Martin Amidu on this call, not for people to vote for the NDC, even though he's NDC. We'll come back and hopefully we can pull up the role of the AG proper as contained in the Constitution. Let's first of all listen to this.
The new government will also enforce the Waterville judgment debt of over euros 47 million loot of prosecuted for high crime. This is the only way out for Ghanaians to stand up for their constitutional rights and to retrieve the unconstitutional monies created, looted, and shared by this government with its political party supporters, who are now unconstitutional judgment debtors to the Republic. As a loyal NDC member, I will support most of my political party's parliamentary candidates who have shown honesty and integrity to the Constitution. But I cannot, in good conscience and in defense of the Constitution, support its presidential candidate to continue leading the loot of the public purse. Fellow patriotic citizens, I have fought for 2 long years for justice for the Constitution and for all of us, and the Supreme Court eventually vindicated the public's interest by ordering the refund of the unconstitutional loot to the Republic of Ghana. Unfortunately, the government, as the leading looter, has put obstacles in our way in enforcing the orders of the court. Fellow citizens, help me in the name of the Constitution to retrieve your money that was looted by voting for a new president. Let us protect our constitutional rights and not be hoodwinked by electioneering ploys. Let us get our Ghana cedis 51,283,483 cedis and 59 pesos back. Countrymen, defend the 1992 Constitution by voting for a new president on 7 December 2016 to get our money back.
So that's Mr. Martin Amidu there ahead of the 2016 general elections. Fortunately for him, he is special prosecutor today. And so all the looters, all the people that he perceived at the time who were looting, he can go and chase after them. But it also brings to mind the question of how independent and objective a special prosecutor he would be. I'd like to put that to you after hearing a playback of some of the things that he said way back ahead of the elections. Is this a truly objective and independent person?
Oh, sure. I say so because, you see, this matter that he was discussing, that's a Wyoming matter, is a case of the Supreme Court having given judgment that the money be recovered. And Mr. Amidu, in his estimation, thought that the Attorney General at the time hadn't done enough to recover the money. So, and so to speak, the whole government. So for me, the comments were legitimate because there was a judgment. And he, being the plaintiff, thought that not enough had been done. So if he's complaining about it, to be candid, I don't see how that complaint should be extrapolated to mean that he will not be fair and impartial in discharging his office. As I've stated, you see, let's not make a mistake. Mr. Amidu's appointment doesn't mean that he can just go to court and win anyhow. No, there is due process. There is due process. And don't forget, there are lawyers on the other side. So when a complaint is made against any member of the previous regime, they have to investigate. And then when they get the evidence, the next thing is that you have to measure the evidence, find out, can this evidence stand up in court? Will it be admissible? Is it credible? And all those. So they will have to evaluate. So it's not as if as soon as they say, oh, Mr. X was said to be corrupt, then, bam, he will be hauled before the court. No, it's based on evidence and due process. So for me, I think that, look, like you see, in these matters, we would be better off channeling all our energy in the positive direction by looking at ways to strengthen the office so that he can discharge the duty. Of course, strengthening the office also involves scrutinizing. That's what I've stated earlier, that we'll have the searchlights thrown on him from the media, from civil society organizations, and also from public-spirited individuals. Yes, so let's do it. It's good.
But when he calls some people to vote against the administration, that's like campaigning, and that's how some people have also connected this appointment and what he did. So it was more like calling on people to vote against the NDC at the time, so he would get a favor like he's gotten. Some people, put it.
Oh, well, in matters like this, public opinion, people are entitled to their opinion. So I would, well, as I said, I don't share in it. What he was doing was that, you see, it's clear in what he stated. He's talking about loyalty to the Constitution. That is what we are required to do as citizens. You see, all too often, it's very common to find people defending party positions even when same should not be defended. So what he did now was the exceptional situation where he said, look, the facts don't look good. my party hasn't done well in this respect. So for me, the Constitution requires that I take steps to protect the public purse. So where I find that my party is not protecting the public purse enough, I call upon citizens to vote them out. I think he's just being a citizen. Yes, it's in there, Article 41 or so, the duties of a citizen. Protect public property. You see, so loyalty to the Constitution ranks above partisan considerations. But all too often in Ghana, you know, because of the quest to make a living, stomach direction politics. Yes, that's what appears to be the dominant practice. But he says, no, it's not stomach direction politics, but loyalty to the Constitution first.
Let's try and go on Facebook, because we put an interesting question on the first 5 cases you want the special prosecutor to handle. So this is more like over to you. We're just going to read some of the things that you've been saying on Facebook. Issa says, wicked leaders and ignorant citizens. Everybody is chanting about the special prosecutor, seeming that's the end of corruption in Ghana. Well, you make a very interesting point. You know, the fact that we've appointed a special prosecutor doesn't mean corruption is ending anytime soon, if you like. So Adnan Al-Hassan says, Wayome Jida Sada Ameripa Bas Brandon Brazil World Cup fiasco, GTV audits and officers who are implicated, SNIT software Bruhaha, Kanazoe Wall, Ghana Embassy, Burkina Faso, Cocoa Board, last but not the least, Wayome 51 million Ghana cedis. That's a tall list. Britta says he's got a lot of cases to look into. Wayome, Akufo-Addo, Bas Brandon, Jida, Sada, Suba, Cocoa Board saga, Central Medical Stores, SNIT software, Acuff, Winneba University saga, Brazil World Cup. You're almost getting to 20. That's a very tall list. Enoch says cash for seats, A+ case, the bond issue, the bond because you can only remove a speck in someone's eye after removing the pole in yours. Daniel says, even a special prosecutor will do nothing. Ghanaians should rather pray to God. Did the president promise a special prosecutor or independent prosecutor? So some people making a distinction between an independent prosecutor and a special prosecutor. Abrantia says the SNIT saga, the Cocoa Board saga, the Wayome saga, the World Cup saga, and a special probe into activities of the GFA. And then, okay, so you're at Ahojo in Kumasi. Thank you. Faisal says, I congratulate government, but I think the right to information bill has to be passed in order to make the work easier. Walanyo says, aeroplane saga, Brazil deal, World Cup, Cocoa Board, who killed Atta Mills, Akufo-Addo, Jida, Sada, Suba, etc. Shebet Paul Ajay says, they said so-called Kumasi International Airport. Okay, so the set so-called Kumasi International Airport, Sada, a free Ankara, coconut made in Brazil, Bas Brandon saga, the Gangantua one is Woyome. Okay, Abdul says the infamous Bas Brandon, the Ameripa deal, Embryo Jets, Woyome 51 million, Bost scandal. Michael Edu says, I want him to look or search in the Guinea files that flee from Ghana to is the Burkina Faso, you want to say. Dean Yali says, Ken Bond scandal, Alfred Obeng, Bost saga, cash for seats scandal over bloated Howard Kumsen budgets. The 2 deputy, I guess, chief of staffs, you have to use clean words. We don't want to be hauled before the special prosecutor, remember? Bride Kodom says, very wise decision. May God strengthen him to accomplish this task. Manasseh Kwafo says, I want him to deal with cases with respect to the amount lost due to the scandal in descending order. Musa Mohammed says, seat for sale, staffers corruption, the Boss oil. Okay, so there are common things that run through these things that you've been saying on Facebook. We thank all of you who are contributing. Elvis Edubuating, for instance, says, Woyome, Isofoton, Jida, Sada, Bas Brandon, GFA Brazil World Cup. And then many of you commenting on this issue, making your own list. We really appreciate. Keep the conversation going on Facebook. But I want to run this by you. Are these realistic lists that we're beginning to make?
Well, you know, citizens have their say. It's possible. Let him come into office. Let's see the number of prosecutors he has to work with, investigators, and then we'll take it from there. That's why earlier on I said a lot depends also on the resources. You see, the resources. Yeah, and when I say resources, human as well as material, financial, all those various types of resources. So if it's well resourced, it means that we can have a number of investigations at a time. But if it's not, it's going to be...
I got some reliable information yesterday that the team that he's going to be working with have already, some of them have already been sent to learn how the Special Prosecutor's Office runs in the U.S.
Good.
So we've got some people, some key people who will be working in that office already, you know, on a trip trying to learn.
Very good. That's good. That's good.
Do we expect him to go to court on all cases that he will be chasing after?
No, naturally not, because he's the head. He doesn't have to be in every case, because you see, he may be so dependent on this, the quantum involved, the amount of money that's said to be lost to the public purse. Yes, some of them at his age, and also looking at a country, Ghana, growing and having a number of officers under him, it will be better that the officers under him are also given equal opportunity to come up, so that he can then superintend over the whole office. So if he's in too many battles, he cannot look at his outfit strategically and make the right strategic decisions to move the outfit forward. You say.
So is his boss the Attorney General?
Yes, that is it. So we always come back to it. So you remember we're on this point, yes, and then that issue, from the way the legal system works, there are going to be a number of battles on that front. Yes, yes. So that once you ask, is his boss the Attorney General? Yes, because the Attorney General wields that power. The Constitution knows only the Attorney General as the prosecutor. So it's the Attorney General who gives the power. Yes, but we've devised a system where the Attorney General is given, donated, if I may call it, or delegated part of the prosecutorial power to the president, for the president to appoint a special prosecutor and for Parliament to approve. So we still haven't solved the fundamental problem about all the prosecutorial power being concentrated in the hands of the Attorney General. So perhaps this is the first step. If you look at the Constitutional Review Commission that did the last Constitutional Review, majority of the citizens said, look, they want an independent Attorney General. We want to insulate the Attorney General himself or herself from the directions and control of the president. We haven't achieved that, you see. So once we haven't achieved that, there's still that fundamental problem. And we've been fighting this since 1968. In the Second Republic, the Constitutional Commission made that recommendation that the Attorney General should have a different tenure of office. So let's say if the president has 4 years, you can give the Attorney General 5 or 6, so that the Attorney General is insulated from the president, you know. It didn't work out. Perhaps, you know, the commission was made up of experts. When they gave it to the Constituent Assembly, that proposal was thrown out, okay. Then now, fast forward to this, the last constitutional review that we did, majority of the people responded and said they want an independent Attorney General. But the experts, Prosecutor and his people, when they looked at it, they thought they weren't exactly clear as to what the respondents meant. So the Constitutional Review Commission rather recommended that we should have an independent Director of Public Prosecution that's in charge of criminal prosecutions, and then an independent Solicitor General. So all I'm saying is that moving forward, this issue of independence of the Attorney General, we've still not resolved it. No, we've not. So it will be better that when we're going to do the referendum for the election of the DCEs, let's add the issue of the Attorney General so that we'll have a truly independent Attorney General. And then apart from that also, we will amend the Constitution in such a manner that the Special Prosecutor will also be truly independent of the Attorney General. So the Attorney General is independent of the President. The Special Prosecutor is also truly independent of the Attorney General. Then, so this, at least, this is a few steps forward. So we must commend the current situation.
We've got to wrap up. Can the Attorney General frustrate the work of the Special Prosecutor, do you see?
Well, Ghana, you know, Let's, as soon as we go on the tangent of frustrate, you know, people will read so many
I want to
minutes.
connect it to the fact that Mr. Amidu speaks.
Yes.
He writes a lot.
Yes.
Do you expect that in the events that he's been frustrated, he would resort to writing again?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
anytime. Yes, because, and you see why we are so excited about the character, because you know that this is a strong person, so he can't be bullied. He can't be bullied. So you see why the excitement is not dying down, because we really needed somebody who is strong, somebody who will not look at stomach direction politics. And so if he thinks this is it and the Attorney General doesn't agree, he may well expose it or say, look, take your office, I'm off. You remember the last time I kept saying that it's about the strength of the person. And truly, to the extent that the president is choosing Mr. Amidu, that is the whole basis of the excitement, because we know that this is a strong figure.
Yeah.
We will see, not just we will see, we pray that he will continue to exhibit that strength so that nobody bullies him.
Okay. Just before we go in 30 seconds, you're a teacher of the law.
Yes.
So tell us, you know, I pretend that we're in your lecture hall. Special and independence, what's the difference?
In this current scheme, the prosecutor is special but not independent. No, because, as he stated, the Attorney General is his boss. So the Attorney General will still have some control on the cases that get done or conducted by the special prosecutor. But if we had the truly independent one, the one that from the early 90s, the IEA has supported, other civil society organizations, and even citizens have supported that we have a truly independent Attorney General and have a truly independent special prosecutor, it will be different.
Okay.
So when it comes to the independent prosecutor, we expect that his office is not subject to the control of the Attorney General or the President.
So to the extent that there's some control from the AG, he is special, but not independent.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin Amidu. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. So I hope that we would have you on sometime soon. Coming up next, we'll hear from independent groups. We'll hear from the Ghana Integrity Initiative. We haven't heard from the NDC as a party. General Secretary General Mosquito will speak to us here on the show, so we hear what the NDC as a party has to say about this appointment. Should they be taken cover because they will be, Martin Amidu will be coming after them? Is that the perception? All those details here on the show. We are on this special Prosecutor this day on the AM show. Please do stay.